All right, everybody, Jim Keeling here again, and we're back on the wheel. What I think I'm going to do is I just made a clip of the honey pot, and I'm going to make another. I think what I'm going to do is attempt to throw a little lid for you here, and I've got some little half-pound, well, actually quarter-pound pieces here. These little pieces are tough for me with my big old hands. As you can see, I've got big hands and big thumbs. But anyway, we're going to attempt to throw some little lids for a little honey pot. Some things are tougher when you got these old big hands. It makes it a little bit tougher. What we do, we take the pot and take a set of calipers, measure the distance that the lid needs to, where the lid needs to set down in that gallery, and then I'll transfer that when I get ready to get my lid going here a little bit more. Basically, when you're throwing a lid, it's like throwing a bowl, only you want to leave a little bit more meat there in the bottom. Don't want it very thin, because what we're going to do when this thing gets leather hard, I'll cut it off with this. Well, actually, I'll leave it on this bat. A lot of times it'll come off with this particular kind of bat, but I'll put it in the where it's supposed to fit, right in that gallery on that honey pot, and then I'll turn it. I'll take and cut it, trim it with a trim tool, and then I'll put a little knob on it, and that little knob turns on there just like you're turning a big piece of clay. The thing about this, you're working in a certain area, so that thing's got to fit that pot, and so I've got to stay all within a 1/16 of an inch. Another thing you want to be sure and do is throw the lid and the bottle at the same time, or the little jug at the same time. This clay, I think, has like a 12% or so shrink rate, and if you throw the pot and then it dries a while, and then you measure it and throw the lid, they're not gonna shrink the same. So you want them to shrink the same. That one there fits maybe just a little bit small. Looking good. One thing about it too, if you get just a little bit on the large side, you can trim the outer part of it just a little bit, and you can trim it some. You can't stretch it. Once it dries, you're not going to stretch it any. So it's better to make it a little bit larger. Sometimes we make flat lids for those, but this is a little lid, and what I'll do, like I say, I'll cut it off. I'll put it over on the pot. I'll leave the pot on the bat like this bat is. I'll leave the pot on there even though it's about leather hard, and then I turn this upside down in the pot and I trim it, put the lid on it. That way it exactly fits that pot. So this one, those two, I'll put them together, got the lid and so forth. Alright, let's see, I think I'll throw another honey pot. I don't know how much time. I get confused when I get on this, watching the time, trying to throw and trying to run the camera all at the same time. It gets hard on my old brain, but anyway. If you think you'd like to learn to throw clay, and you can't go somewhere for lessons, Go online, find you a wheel you can afford. Don't get one of those little toys, but get you a little wheel. I only gave, I think, $375 for this wheel and clay, and I don't know, there was some tools with it and some odds and ends. But get you a wheel. Go on YouTube and just put in pottery, and it'll pull up all kinds of demos. You could spend a week and not watch all the videos that's on YouTube, and most of the potters on there are real good about explaining to you what they're doing. I'm amazed at potters. They don't seem like they have any secrets. They're willing to share, tell you what their secrets are. And if you'd like to, contact me, I try to help you any way I could, or be willing to give lessons. When you're doing the bottom, you want to compress that bottom. I have a tendency to just throw it and not spend the time on the bottom that I need to. And this clay is real forgiving, but if you don't compress that bottom, you wind up with cracks in it. And I do every now and then wind up with pieces that crack and not any good. Alright, now I've got it seated on the wheel. I've centered it. I've opened it up. Now I'm ready to pull it up. My first pull. You got to remain consistent in the thickness of that wall. There's a tendency to come in as you get to the top. You've got to keep that wall the same thickness, and in this case you want that, teach that clay to come in. Clay has memory, and if you want it to come in later, you've got to bring it in early. If you don't, you won't be able to get it in. So even though it'll go back out here in a minute as I'm working on it. We'll bring up another pull. Let up a little bit as I get to the top, and certainly don't want my fingers jumping off. That's one of the hardest things I have to do in teaching people, is getting to not let their hands jump against each other when they get to the top. They put in that pressure, and the hands the fingers of course naturally want to jump together when they get to the top, and they have trouble controlling that. You just keep pulling it up. Every potter, it seems like, has his own ideal thickness. I mentioned Robert Allowine a minute ago. His pots, it seemed to me, like run a little bit thicker than some other potters do, and I favor that. Clay's cheap, make a good pot. Now if you're making porcelain or something that you're wanting to be able to see through, translucent porcelain, that's different. But if you're making a piece of ware for the kitchen somebody's going to be using, you want it to have some heft to it, and where it can withstand the daily use. We'll make one last pull. I'm beginning to shape that belly as I'm forming it this last time. We'll put my gallery in it. Some people put their gallery in earlier. I can't tell that it makes any difference when you put it in. You just want to be sure you've left enough clay there at the top to have room for it. This one here is a little bit bigger than normal. I don't know. Like I say, I've only been doing this for a couple of years. I'm not a professional potter. It seems to me like some clay will pull up easier than others, and you can just get the height you want real quick. And others, it seems like it just don't come up that quick. But anyway, it's pottery. No two pieces need to look the same anyway. Alright, looks like I'm out of time. God bless you. Hope you have a great day. Just pray for us. Pray for our ministry. Thank you.